So, sir, how a beginner should approach?
How to get the job into NGC? I will say my answer based on that question. Diversified, because that was the first time where petroleum engineering is conducting the gate, and that is under the banner of IIS.
So, sir, means if I'll get below 100, okay, or top 100, so will I get into PSU? Or, sir, what is the job vacancies that PSUs gives? Welcome everyone to the second part regarding the GATE exam preparation. And you haven't watched the first episode already, then there is a link given in the description box and in the comment section for the first part. So please go and watch that first. And if you have already watched the first part, sit back, relax, and enjoy the second session. Hello, sir, and welcome to the second session of GATE exam. So, sir, here they are going to be very specific about GATE papers and how a person should approach his GATE papers. And to all my viewers, I can guarantee you this is the last video which will require to know how to prepare for GATE. So, coming to my first question, sir. So, sir, what all subjects are there in GATE papers and what is the weightage of each and every subject?
Okay. First, I would like to distribute the subjects that are in the gate for petroleum engineering. Fine. So the first is petroleum exploration. Then we have the drilling engineering. Then we have reservoir engineering, production operations, offshore engineering. Then we have formation evaluation, oil and gas well testing, health safety environment, EOR, and latest trends. So in basically in total of 10 papers, 10 technical papers. And if you come to the weightage basically is the first, the maximum weightage goes to the reservoir engineering, right? Because as we know that the backbone for the petroleum engineering is all about the reservoir. Understanding of reservoir will lead you to understand other two subjects, which is oil and gas well testing and EOR. Right? So basically, reservoir engineering input has, if you prepare and if you get the understanding of reservoir engineering, it will help you in oil and gas securing marks in oil and gas well testing as well as in enhance and recovery, EOR. Fine. Next, production operations. Production operations is a particular subject where you will find that this particular subject has a diversified hand. That means basically the students, while they go for preparation of the production operations or production engineering, they find ki kahan se paru, where to study, because all the subjects are haphazard, all the topics are haphazard, as well as if you see for in a curriculum, when we design, as an academician, we design a curriculum, we cannot give sequentially all the subjects right in third semester, fourth semester, fifth semester. So suppose you are studying the first input of production operation in the fourth sem, you are studying the second input of production operation in the sixth semester, right? And the third one will be in the second semester, in the seventh semester. So all the different inputs you are studying of production operation, and while you are finding the same, under the same banner of production operations, while you find, so it would be hard for you also to get, because hard for you to study from which particular subject I need to study, right? What are the contents that I need to? So this is one particular field where you have to be very specific and very calculative, because our strategy is to get the marks. We no need to require to be a master a particular subject. We need to be a master of petroleum engineering. So we have to calculate our subjects or topics in what way we need to give more emphasis to, right? So second prioritize of the subject is production operation. Then comes your drilling. Drilling is all about understanding, because if you go for a drilling question paper, you will find that in the drilling, it's all about the numerical approach, fine? And whatever the theory that is coming, that is also based on your numerical approach. Basics, that means your understanding. If while you go through the books, there are certain 4 or 5 topics in drilling engineering where the questions are coming sequentially, right from 2016 to 2022 or 23, just this year 23, fine. There are certain, I would like to name a few: drilling mud, cementing operations, directional drilling, that trigonometric formula to find out the TVD when your MVD is there, MD is there. And apart from that, well control, whole problems, fine. And in chapter number 2, we have the drill string design. So basically, these are the 6 topics out of 10 topics in drilling engineering where the questions are repeatedly coming. And in that, if you find maximum of the question is coming from directional drilling. That means if I need to prioritize my approach, that means my first approach will be for drilling engineering, I will study the drilling, directional drilling. Why? Because in GATE, that is the most weightage or the most common question that is coming under the drilling operations. Fine. Second, for production operation, this is the third priority subject. Next priority subject is formation evaluation. Right? Formation evaluation is a storybook. It starts with the story of the first topic, and if you have not understood the first one, your last will not get understood. So I cannot bifurcate. You have to study the complete formation evaluation subject at a stress. Right? Because this will gather your understanding. Right? So if I say superficially, if I bifurcate the formation evaluation, it is into two types. One is your open on logs, one is your cased on logs. Right? But to get an understanding, because यहाँ पे ऐसा चीज होता है कि इसको बर ज़्यादा होता है तो इसका कंटेंट क्या होता है, कम होता है तो क्या होता है. So ये सब चीज समझने के लिए मुझे क्या चाहिए? Understanding. Because memorize will not do, because you will get confused. Fine? So that's why I said formation evaluation is nothing. It's just about the storybook. The more you study, the more you will get the perfection. Fine? Next, oil and gas well testing and EUR. Already I said that will be completed with the reservoir engineering. Production operations, already you have taken. Drilling engineering, we have taken. EUR, already EUR and oil and gas still with reservoir. Offshore engineering is one where you will get certain inputs in drilling engineering. Rest, you have to study a little bit. Two or more, as my knowledge, 2 books is enough for offshore engineering. Right? And latest trends and HSE. This you can go through some of the books or some of the contents that has been taught in the class. That would be enough. And HSE is completely a broad subject where you cannot cover. Still, if you check the marks of the weightage of GATE, it's maximum of 6 marks. When, as per your knowledge, it is just like a general awareness for petroleum engineering. It's an awareness program. Just like HSE is also an awareness to every company, to every student. Fine. So this is what my weightage is about, or what my analytics is.
So you prioritize a subject according to their weightage. Yeah. But what if, sir, I have more interest in drilling and less interest in reservoir engineering? So should I give more priority to drilling? Because of course, if I have interest in drilling, then I'll understand drilling more. So I have the chances of me getting great marks, or in a lesser time, I'll be able to score more in drilling. So should I give more priority to the drilling, or I should stick?
Okay, my question will be how to get the job into NGC. I will say my answer based on that question. Fine? How you prioritize, because you say that your interest is in drilling. But what my interest, or as in GATE evaluator or analytics, what I am doing to counsel the students to crank the GATE. Fine. So based on my analytics, what I suggest is that priority should be given to that subject where the weightage is more, because ultimately you have to secure the marks.
Yeah, ultimately marks is what counts.
Rest. If you are very good in maths and aptitude, you have got a added advantage of 30 marks, 28 to 30 marks. Now, if you see the statistics of GATE, within 70, if you score out of 170, there is a sure shot that you will get into NGC under the banner of production operation, because in production, we have the maximum number of seats as advertised by the ONGC right from 2016 to 2022. 23 advertisement has not yet come. Fine. So if you give the priority, if you have interest in drilling, now you have to check how much percentage of weightage is there in drilling. So if you see the calculations, nearly 10, 6 to 13 marks, maximum of 13 marks, which vary according to the year. Fine. So in drilling, 13 marks you can score. And if you think that if you are very good in drilling engineering and any of the question, you can solve it. That means you can, in a back of the mind, you can calculate, yes, 13 marks is in my category. Now, if I need to give prioritize to production engineering or reservoir engineering, I will study a little bit less as compared to others, because I have a very good command over drilling, and that 13 marks nobody can steal from me. Fine. So now you have a selective end towards your production and reservoir. So production mein tumhe agar production 1, you are very good in production 1. Production 2, you no need to study. Why? Because you have added advantage in drilling, and you know that 13 marks will not go anywhere. Fine. But reservoir, you have to study. There is no other alternative that, sir, I will not study reservoir, or I will not prioritize reservoir, rather than I will study all other subjects. No. Reservoir is the understanding for petroleum engineering. Once you have the understanding, you can secure based on your common sense, because all the gate doesn't reflects to the formula. Some things are basic understanding also. If you have understanding, if you have a very good command in aptitude, because some questions of gate can be solved through aptitude also. There are certain questions in 2016, 2017, one or two questions in numeric NAT. In the portion of NAT, for 2 marks, there are certain questions which can be solved by aptitude. Where as a student, what we approach, इसका तो formula तो मैंने पढ़ा ही नहीं है. We always think about the formula, but there is no formula in that. That is the basic understanding that you will get from the by studying the questions.
Okay, so means the main point is that we are giving gate to be a to give competition and to conquer the competition. And for the to get the maximum and to conquer the competition, we require the maximum score, and that is why we have to prioritize according to the marks. Okay. So what is my competition? It's how many students with which I have to compete with.
Okay. So if you see the total number of students, I will be my answer will be based on statistics. Okay. So in 2016 we have 2326, and if you see the records of every where in 2018 it is 1940, in 21 it is 2153, in 22 it is 1838. Fine. So if you see the statistics, and if I take the average of from 2016 to 22, my average is coming out to be 1900. That means you have to compete with the 1900 students on paper. Fine. But logically, with preparation, I need to compete with maximum of 300 students. Fine. With 300 students. Whereas with this 300, first top 100 is from IIT or RGIPTs, or those who are preparing. It's not like that they have a tag of IIT, but if you prepare for 2 or 3 years, that means you are so perfect that you can compete with some good institute students also. Right? So basically, to get into top 100, you have to give certain importance to the gate based on your preparation, based on your timetable, fixation of your timetable, based on how much dedication you are giving for the preparation. These are the 3 keywords which will lead your gate score below 100. Because for that, just go through the books, writing something and just studying and coming and vomiting in the exam will not enough. This will directly reflect to your understanding. If you have very, very good understanding in your petroleum engineering, you are a perfect contender to get into your top 100.
So sir, means if I'll get below 100, okay, or top 100, so will I get into PSU? Or sir, what is the job vacancies that PSUs gives to gate?
Okay, so this is also based on statistics, based on 2016. If you see the advertisement of ONGC in 2016, that was on 14417. Fine. With the paper, if I say the paper is very calculative. It is diversified, because that was the first time where petroleum engineering is conducting the gate, and that is under the banner of IISc Bangalore. So they have given a very common paper based on the basics. No such extraordinary questions came. On the questions, those who have a very good basics of 11, 12, they secured the very good marks. Fine. And basically, if you see the qualified students, basically all are from RGIPT and IIT, because at that time no coaching was there. No students are aware of what are the subjects that will come, or to which subject I have to give weightage.
And there were very few resources.
Very few resources are there. Yes. Main thing in petroleum engineering is the non-availability of the resources. Fine. And awareness. So in 2017, the seats increased to 721. In 2018, the vacancy increased to 1032. Fine. In 2019, it has decreased to 785. In 2020 and 21, because of COVID situation, in every PSUs it was closed. Just ONGC have given the advertisement for 313 and 309. Again in 2022, the seat increased to 871. Right? So if I take leaving behind 20 and 21, because that is an exceptional case throughout the world. Fine. So if I take for all that right from 2016 to 23, I will find the vacancy is near about not less than 750. It will be always more than 750 for gate, means for all the streams. Now coming to the petroleum streams. Fine. In petroleum, you will find maximum of 7% of the total seats, 7 to 10% of the total seats is dedicated to petroleum engineering. Fine. 7 to 10%. That means on an average, you will find near about 60 to 80. Whereas in 2022, because of 75 years of India's independence, we have got 89 seats. That is the maximum. Fine. And ONGC has a record is that once they increase the seats, and now ONGC has a new tagline, ONGC jitega tohi to India jitega, isn't it? So based on that tagline, they are giving more emphasis on exploration. So they require the petroleum engineers. So I am very sure that for this year also, it will go on increasing, and it will go on increasing day by day, because scarce availability is required. So for that you require a skilled engineers, and once you qualify the gate, he also has a tagline that he is a skilled engineer.
So sir, what is the AR required to get into ONGC?
All India rank. Now it is based on 3 categories: general, OBC, and STSC. Right? So for general, if you want to get if you before the interview, if you want to get confident that yes, I will get into ONGC without the interview score also, in that case you have to be within top 20. Fine. Now, after that, from 20 to 40, there are certain gambling. Means if someone is prioritizing drilling, and intentionally he gave the drilling to say everyone drilling, and he gave the priority while filling the ONGC form, he filled production. So one seat there has got vacant. So whoever is below will automatically get promoted in drilling, because that seat has already been not filled in drilling. Fine. I'd like to give a more, because your facial expression seems that you didn't understood. Fine. Suppose total of, I'm just giving an example, 7% of 721. Fine. Suppose it's 53. 53 seats have come out for petroleum engineering. Now they have subdivided, ONGC again subdivided into 2 for cementing, 29 for production, 4 for drilling, 18 for reservoir. This is for 2017 year. Now, suppose how many seats are for drilling? It is 4. Fine. Now, out of 4, suppose who will get? The one who is in the top ranker, he will get the priority. Fine. Suppose in the Excel sheet, or in the sheet, or from the information that I found, that I got in my year, is that AR 4 is filling the drilling engineering. Fine. Then AR 8 is filling the drilling engineering. Then AR 12 is filling the drilling engineering, and AR 20 is filling the drilling engineering, and my rank is AR 22. Fine. How many seats are there? 4. And I know above me 4 has already filled. 4, 8, 12 and 20. So why I will apply for drilling? Because I know that, because there is 4 seats and already before me 4 has filled. But in that, AR has 8 has wrongly said that he has prioritized drilling. But in ONGC, he has filled the production. So now, based on the gambling, I applied for drilling, and I know that above 4 has already filled. But in 4, 1 has played dual policy, and he opted for production. So in AR 22, I am getting the drilling. Understood? So there is certain policies are there. Once you get into AR 20, automatically you will understood what are the things that you need to play to get into NGC. Fine? But you should have a very good GATE score. This is for general. For OBC, based on the availability, if you see the records, maximum of AR 85 has entered into NGC through OBC. Provided he had to play certain things. Fine? For scheduled caste, SC, ST, you can go up to 200. Fine? Based on the availability of the seats. But in general, within 155, 160, all get cleared. After that, it comes for the opportunity of higher studies. If you want to go for IIT Madras, after within 100, those who are short for general. Basically, general goes into IIT Dhanbad because they have a cutoff score of within 30. After 30, they are not sure that whether they will get into NGC or not. So directly they opted for, with a good AR rank, they opted for IIT Madras. And IIT Madras is a very good placement record. Once into go there, they also hire ONGC also hire from direct MTech students because they don't have any VTech. Fine. So they know that if I invest in ISM Dhanbad, after 2 years, I will get the job in ONGC. So it's better to go over there. So they opted for that in this way.
So sir, how a beginner should approach?
Beginner should approach, yes. Beginner. First of all, what I say is that leaving all technical things apart, discipline is the main thing. Fine. If you can stick, your brain and you can work out your brain for nearly 4 hours, that means you are a guy who can secure any achievements, right? Because we cannot control our mind. If you have the ability to control our mind, if your will is so much strong that you can indulge into the things that you are not interested in, and you are using your full mind and intention to understand that for at least 4 hours, that means you can use your brain to what amount you can. This is the first thing. That means your discipline, fine? If you have the discipline, and next you have to prioritize what you have to do in your career, and that is within second year. Within second year, you have to think what you have to do, because 2 years is required to make yourself compete to prepare to make yourself stand into that competition. 2 years is you required because you have to polish yourself, fine? So if you, in the second year, if you think that yes, I had to do GATE, then you have to, first of all, you have to make yourself disciplined. Then you have to follow a timetable, fine? You have to make yourself analyze what are the problems that you are facing while studying. You have to solve those problems. Then your first step will come to study the books. But before that, you have to...
First, I have to get my mind stronger to go into this competition. Yeah. And then, so, Miss, what are the reference book which one can refer to?
Reference books, fine. What I refer, it cannot be a reference book to someone else, fine? But there are certain standard books which is, say, the Bible of Petroleum Engineering, just like Tariq Ahmed for reservoir engineering. For analytics, we have R. Ursin for reservoir engineering. Basically, this R. Ursin is basically for petrophysical properties, that is, rock and fluid properties. Fine. There are various books are there, but the Bible for reservoir is Tariq Ahmed. For drilling, we have Rabia. Fine. For drilling, we have Rabia. H. Rabia, okay. Now the edition has came. The first edition was of 1989. So if you study, you will get the basics. Now to polish, you have to study more of different subjects, of different writers. Fine.
It is on what I can understand. What writers means, everybody's writing is different. Means Tariq Ahmed will write in a certain way and some other writer will write in some other way. What is best suited for me? That is the best way to analyze.
Obviously, the first thing is that from where you can understand, that teacher becomes to be a favorite teacher, isn't it? Because the way he delivers, that is also thing, and the way whatever he want to understand, it is getting understandable by you. This is the first point. The second point is that from which particular book you get the maximum everything, because right from the A to Z, because if I give you understanding about the alphabets and I left you after, suppose I asked you to read from A to H, fine, and in sentence there is coming Z, whereas you don't know the basics of Z. So how will you read that particular sentence, isn't it? So to understand the basics, you require the connections of right from the layman thing to the advanced. So Tariq Ahmed is one particular book where you will get right from the layman phase behavior to your vapor liquid equilibrium. So right from your basic to your standard. So that is why I said it's of Bible for petroleum engineering.
Thank you, sir, for coming on Crude Talks again, and I hope our viewers get the maximum clarification on how to approach the GATE papers. And if you have any other doubts regarding GATE exams, you can comment down below and we'll try to convince her to come take one more session regarding GATE exams so that any other doubts will be clarified. And sir, thank you so much for joining us, and it's seriously our viewers, I hope viewers will get the maximum clarification through this, and thank you so much, sir, for joining.
And it's my pleasure also that sitting here in this room, I can enlighten maximum students, those who are preparing for the GATE. And at the end, what I like to say to everyone is that if you are preparing for any of the competitive exam during while you are studying engineering, GATE is a very good platform where you can showcase your talents. And so every engineer should at least try for GATE at least once. After that, if you are not finding that it is not your cup of tea, you can switch on to some other discipline. That's what I suggest.
Yes, as an engineer, we should once try GATE out. Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you so much.